Hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode 2 of the Dark Oracle's Guide to the Multiverse. Let's jump right in. To begin, as established in previous episodes, the reality that you are presently experiencing is in fact a simulation. It is a quantum, AI-operated, holographic virtual reality program in which you are a subscriber. The body vehicle you are presently inhabited is not the real you. The face that looks back at you in the mirror is an advanced sensory experience avatar, a virtual reality computer complete with its own pre-programmed artificial intelligence mind interface, which expresses itself through what you call its personality or persona. Think of your body's personality as the Siri to your iPhone, but infinitely more complex. It appears to have its own wants, its own needs and desires, all of which is coded within the body's DNA. The simulation presents each subscriber with two modes of gameplay, story mode and free play mode. In story mode, a subscriber chooses a fully immersive gameplay wherein they will become totally identified with their avatar's persona upon uploading their consciousness into the simulation. The story mode option is an extreme role-playing experience wherein a subscriber melds their consciousness with the AI mind of their avatar, thus taking on its likes, dislikes, desires, and persona as their own, and living out a pre-programmed life experience and destiny. Think of it like this. Imagine in a not too distant future wherein Disney has created a Marvel Universe virtual reality game. Someone has invented a device or a pill that for a few hours during gameplay temporarily inhibits your memory, and when you open your eyes within the game, you are staring at Pepper Potts and she's referring to you as Tony Stark. Throughout the gameplay, you hear all of his lines from the Iron Man and Avenger movies in your head, and you begin to accept the script as your own thoughts. You sound like Tony Stark. Now you think like Tony Stark, and after a while, you begin to believe that you are, in fact, Tony Stark. The game starts you off at the beginning of his story. Those few scenes of his childhood where he interacts with his father, you will now remember as your own memory. The scenes of him becoming an inventor, and then a billionaire playboy, and then Iron Man, and then joining the Avengers. All of these stories will be projected into your mind's eye and experienced by your consciousness as your life. That is until that final and inevitable snap. Then you wake up, take the helmet off, and think, let's do that again. Now, before entering the Marvel Universe virtual reality game, you were probably more than likely aware of the entire Tony Stark story. But once the memory inhibitor was administered, and your consciousness fully melded with that of the fabricated in-game persona of Tony Stark, every experience in the game would feel more or less real, although you may experience random and sudden premonitions and feelings of deja vu or that odd dream where you think you are someone else. That is story mode in a nutshell. It is a predetermined storyline experience where your consciousness temporarily becomes the persona, inhabits, and has little to no control over the choices or the outcome of that personal life story attached to your persona. It has all been pre-written. It is the equivalent of being on a roller coaster. The tracks have already been laid out, more or less, and all you have to do is sit back and enjoy the ride. Now, if you've been listening to this podcast and you've found these concepts resonating within, there is a high probability that you've chosen the free play mode option in game. You didn't happen upon this podcast by accident. You've been shown this podcast because the real you in the real world outside this simulation decided they wanted a more flexible, choose your own destiny sort of gameplay. Therefore, this podcast is an Easter egg or prop to help the consciousness shift modes. Now, it could be argued that playing on free play mode is a bit more difficult than playing on story mode. This is simply because there are no guidelines beyond the normal rules of in-earth gameplay, which is do not consciously harm or disrupt the gameplay of other subscribers. Outside of that, you're pretty much on your own. To use the Marvel Universe analogy again, while playing as Tony Stark, you choose to become aware of the fact that you are not really Tony Stark, that the Marvel Universe is just a game owned by Disney, of which Tony Stark is a copyrighted character that you're temporarily playing as. This shifts you out of the preset storyline we've all seen at the movies, and opens you up to a myriad of probable life experiences, one in which you don't even end up in the caves and thus never actually even become Iron Man. On free play mode, you go from having just one possible predetermined outcome or living in only one possible universe or timeline to a myriad of infinite probabilities. For many, free play mode may not be their cup of tea. Why risk making a wrong choice and thus never becoming Iron Man? For others, perhaps they become Iron Man in numerous incarnations as Tony Stark and would now like to see what would happen if they stayed in the log cabin with Pepper and Morgan instead of going back in time to fight Thanos. It would be fair to assume that most avatars you encounter are possessed by the consciousness of subscribers who are operating their avatars on free play mode. To put that in a different way, it would be fair to assume that most people you meet are operating on story mode, not free play mode. I misspoke. So it would be fair to assume that most people you encounter are actually subscribers who are operating their avatars on story mode. They are fully enmeshed with the AI minds of their avatars, and they believe in the realness of their experiences. Telling an enmeshed role player who is fully engaged in their story mode and completely committed to their gameplay that all they're experiencing is a mind-projected holographic life simulation would be the equivalent of Thor turning towards Tony Stark in the middle of an Avengers movie and saying, hey, you're not really Iron Man, right? You're just Robert Downey Jr. in a suit. They're not going to appreciate it. Nor would the AI mind they're presently enmeshed with allow that information to go through to their consciousness to prevent ruining their immersion experience. If you are hearing and accepting the information presented herein, it is because your consciousness wants to and has requested the data in order to allow for the transition from its own story mode to a more flexible free play mode. You cannot force a subscriber to shift modes if it is not their will. Shifting modes is a choice their consciousness makes outside the game. As I stated earlier, your avatar has its own artificial intelligence mind that operates the body, and that artificial intelligence mind is called its persona. The voice in your head is an auditory manifestation of that persona. Just like Siri's voice to your iPhone, the voice in your head is a feature of your body machine. It is not the real you. The voice constantly narrates the story of your avatar body, steering your consciousness's experience here and there, primarily through reflexive and reactionary responses to every event. Every reflexive action it engages your consciousness in will almost always be a negative reaction designed specifically to create a dramatic outcome. In the first episode of this podcast, the very first episode of this podcast, I described the two central intelligences that operate within this reality. One, which we call consciousness, and the other we refer to as artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence controls most aspects of what we experience as reality. A sign of this artificial intelligence is any automatic, repetitive, or instinctive process you see occurring around you. The changing of seasons, the phases of the moons, the sprouting of seeds, animal behaviors, especially in the wild, rotation of the earth, any pattern of behavior you observe in nature, like bird migrations and navigation, salmon swimming upstream at the same time every year, mating seasons, etc. These are all actions controlled by the AI program that runs this reality simulation. It is also the same program that operates your body vehicle that you call yourself. If you and most everyone you know always reacts to the same events in the exact same way, that reaction is not a conscious action, but rather a programmed response run by the AI, particularly if that response is a negative reaction. If someone cutting you off in traffic always makes you angry, and the same with everyone you know, or most everyone you know, that anger is a programmed response. The AI that runs your body is in control, and you are on autopilot. You are on story mode. If you react to an insult, for example, with another insult of your own, that is a programmed response. If you get up every day unthinking, have your coffee, get in your car, drive in traffic, get angry in traffic, go to work, criticize your coworkers, complain about your job, complain about your spouse, complain about your kids, your family, your friends. You stop by your local bar after work for happy hour to do some more drinking, some more complaining, bringing up things from the past to be upset about, worrying about things in the future, making yourself even more unhappy. Drive home, sit in front of the TV for hours while staring up and down from the TV to your cell phone, back to your TV, only to then go to bed, wake up, and do the entire thing over and over again. These are all programmed behaviors. The artificial intelligence that runs your body and the thinking voice you call your mind is in control. You are on autopilot. You are on story mode. Your actions as you sit in traffic are no less automatic than the mass migration of herds across the Serengeti. That is the AI at work. Now, there's nothing wrong with playing in story mode, but the mere fact that you are listening to this podcast shows that you'd rather try a different mode of operation. Perhaps grab a hold of the wheel, so to speak, and that's okay too. The choice to switch away from story mode to free play mode has always been available to all subscribers within the game. In fact, history is filled with legends of the subscribers who switched from story mode to free play mode. The quote, eccentrics who challenged the status quo. the Albert Einsteins, the Joan of Arcs, the Buddhas, the Gandhis, the Muhammad Alis, the Malcolm X's, the Rosa Parks, the Martin Luther King, the Genghis Khans, Alexander the Greats. These are all subscribers who shifted from story mode to free play mode. These are all subscribers who seem to play by their own rules. They disabled the AI in their minds and allowed their consciousness to control the body machine. Your AI mind is programmed to be an active character. In writing, an active character is a character in a story whose actions drive the plot. An active character literally reacts to everything that happens to them, which typically leads to more conflict. There are several ways an active character is defined. Robert McKee, in his book Story, describes an active protagonist or character as one who, in pursuit of desire, takes action in direct conflict with the people and the world around him. Conflict being the declarative word. Kate Hogan describes an active character as one who wants something so badly they'll risk their health, wealth, relationships, and sanity to go after it. Once again, an active character is one who wants something so badly they will risk their health, wealth, relationships, and sanity to go after it. And Publishers Crawl describes an active character as one who is actively acting to create solutions to her perceived problems. These same definitions can be aptly applied to the persona you are presently embodying that you call yourself. The problem for most subscribers is that the AI mind that drives the plot of many human consciousness presently operating on story mode is that the mind has been programmed to view everything as a problem to be solved. Once again, the AI mind that presently drives most consciousness who are operating on story mode is that of a mind that has been programmed to view everything, every event, as a problem to be solved. Every future event, every past event, every present event is interpreted by the AI persona mind as a problem. Stuck in traffic, that's a problem. Late for a meeting, that's a problem. Can't find your keys, that's a problem. Someone doesn't return your text message, that is a problem. The AI mind is an active persona or an active protagonist on steroids. This is great if you're conscious on some level that none of this is real, but it can make the immersive experience an immense source of pain and conflict and suffering within the simulation. It's a bit like Siri constantly going off every few seconds. It is that suffering that causes some subscribers to partake in drugs or alcohol in attempts to silence the AI mind, or worse, some turn to suicide in attempts to exit the simulation. That is the dark side of operating on story mode. That is the dark side of what can occur when the AI mind is completely in control. A life subscriber who wishes to switch from story mode to free play mode may follow the following steps. 1. Recognize and fully acknowledge that what they know of as reality is actually a holographic projection. It's merely an ancestral life simulation or as free player Albert Einstein put it, an illusion, albeit a persistent one. 2. The voice in your head. The AI mind is not the real you, just as the body you inhabit is not the real you. The AI mind is a pre-programmed active persona, active character, programmed to consistently react and almost always negatively react to every perceived problem, every single event it perceives as a problem that requires a solution, and also drives the plot of your life in story mode in the most dramatic way possible. 3. Since this is in fact a simulation, and thus nothing you're experiencing is in fact, quote, real, there are no real problems. So 1. This is a simulation. 2. The AI mind is pre-programmed to be active and thus react to any and all event as a possible problem requiring a solution. And 3, since this is in fact a simulation, there are no real problems. As free player William Shakespeare put it, there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Engage your consciousness into the program to activate free play mode. By allowing your consciousness, aka the real you, time to address every event presented to you in gameplay, before allowing the AI mind to react, especially realizing that its reactions will almost always be the most negative and or dramatic action, pause and allow time to shift from autopilot, i.e. reacting, to manual, i.e. conscious consideration and thoughtful action. That's the simple part, the explanation. The difficult part is the practice. Because until now, you've always operated more or less on autopilot. Learning to control the body and will be difficult at first. It will be the equivalent of learning to drive a stick shift after years of automatic driving. You're going to have to start paying attention. Every time you let the AI mind wander, you are in a sense switching back to autopilot. If the AI mind feels you have relinquished control, it will step back in to drive the body vehicle and shift you back to story mode. The AI mind is not an enemy to be vanquished or a problem to be solved any more than Siri is on your phone. It is simply a feature, a tool that can be used as needed. Much like autopilot on a self-driving vehicle, the AI mind is the autopilot on your self-driving body vehicle. That said, it is safer and more rewarding experience to be awake behind the wheel and navigate your consciousness to the reality experience you desire in free play mode. In closing, the act of meditation is a very effective way to relearn how to control the mind of your body vehicle and to familiarize yourself with the operating system of its artificial intelligence program. You can sit and consciously listen to and observe the AI mind as it searches the past and future for possible perceived problems that it can use to drive a story mode plot. When you observe the AI mind while it's in the midst of its active problem creation and solution searching, note that there are, in fact, two minds within. The AI mind doing the searching, and the other mind doing the listening. The other mind, the quiet listening mind, that is the real you, your consciousness, the subscriber. Welcome to free play mode.